Are you at risk for falling? Well, this may be a loaded question because, of course, all of us are at risk of falling because all of us can go out and trip over something and end up on the floor. This may be a worrisome thing for some of us, though, as some of us may be dealing with things like osteoporosis or other variables that might lead to fractures when we fall or the inability to get back up after we fall. And so for some of us, the idea of falling is worrisome. And in fact, many people that have come into our clinic describe the fear of falling, not wanting to end up on the floor due to some of those factors. Are there ways that we can be able to detect our risk for falling? There was a study looking at risk of falls in community-dwelling populations by Luzardi, and basically this was a study that looked at a variety of different tests that you can perform to see if you have a risk for falling. They had over 30 different outcome measures or 30 different tests that you could perform, and 5 of those rose to the top. Out of those 5, 4 of them can be easily done at home. One of them is most likely going to be done best by a professional in a professional setting, while these other ones, if you are worried about doing the test, or if you look at that test and go, I may fall during that test, is probably going to be done, again, by a professional who can help you be able to assess your fall risk and to take you through appropriate treatments in order to mitigate your risk of falling. The 5 tests were the BERG Balance Scale. The BERG Balance Scale is basically a test that looks like a variety of different items to test to see if you are at a risk of falling. Again, this is one of the tests that is best done by a professional, as there are many different items that are involved in the test as well as the scoring. The other 4, though, are simple tests that can be done within the comfort of your home. The first one is basically the single leg stance test. Essentially, you stand on one leg and you time to see how long you can stand on one leg. According to this study, if you had less than 6.5 seconds, then you are at a higher probability of falling than somebody who can stand for longer than 6.5 seconds. The third test is called the timed up and go test. The timed up and go test is where you set up a target 10 feet away from a chair. You are going to start off in the chair, and when you say go, you're going to stand up out of the chair, you're going to walk towards the target, walk around the target, and walk back to the chair and have a seat. The timer starts when you stand up, and the timer stops when you sit down. The test set is basically assessing your ability to walk quickly and navigate a turn. If you have less than 12 seconds, you are at a lower risk of falling. If you are at 12 seconds or higher, you are at a higher risk of falling. The 4th test is a test called the 5 times sit to stand test. This test is best done in a chair that is about 17 inches tall. The way you perform the test is you cross your arms over your chest, and when you say go, you're going to stand up and sit down 5 times in a row as quickly as you can, and timing to see how long it takes for you to do this. If you can complete the test in under 12 seconds, you are at a lower risk for falling. If you are taking longer than 12 seconds to do this test, then you are at a higher risk of falling. The last test that you can perform safely at home is called the self-selected walk pace test. Basically, the way this one goes is you are setting up a track about 10 meters. You are starting off on one end of this track, and when you say go, you are going to walk at a self-selected pace across this track for 10 meters and time to see how long it takes for you to do this. If it takes you longer than 10 seconds to walk 10 meters, then you are at a higher risk for falling. And if it is lower than 10 seconds per the 10 meters, then you are at a lower risk for falling. The authors of this study do say that if you are having trouble with one of these tests, it does not necessarily mean that you're at a high risk for falling. But if you start looking at the accumulation of these scores, if you're finding that 4 of these 5 tests put you in a high risk category, then chances are you probably are at a high risk of falling. If it's only one test that you're having trouble with, you may not be at a high risk of falling, but we don't entirely know for sure because, of course, it's just a risk assessment. If you are concerned about your balance and you are concerned about falling and you are afraid of falling or you want to improve your balance, then go see your local physical therapist and we can definitely take the time to assess in very similar ways with these tests, but be able to assess your risk of falling and be able to figure out what interventions would best be suited for you to be able to reduce your risk of falling. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, give us a thumbs up. If you guys have any comments or questions, leave those in the comment section below. And as always, I hope you guys have a great day.